We're going. Okay, here we are. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to Wake the Nation. And April's I really have to give God thanks because April, this is the month when we file taxes. And the topic tonight is financial trauma and solutions, right? To the how to get out of the trauma. I just think that all things work together for good to those who love the Lord and are called seriously. So tonight, I just want to, we were supposed to do the topic on financial, but you know what? Let's just, in dealing with trauma, and before we get to the trauma, and my co-host, I'm Florencia Chang-Ageda, and my co-host, uh, Mrs.
Thais
Thais
Love.
Love, who is our resident psychologist as well. We're here to present tonight, and she is going to talk about financial trauma and the solutions to how to deal with that. But starting out, we don't get there just that way, right? We don't just get into the trauma of things without anything. So, a little bit about us not being financially literate, right? And financial literacy is the ability to really understand and effectively use various financial skills in dealing with financial management, budgeting, and investing, right? And we're talking about on a personal level. Yes, many times it's used professionally. Maybe you have a business, a not for profit, but all of us, all of us need to deal with the budget, right? Whether we're
Yes.
single, we're married, or we're parents, right? Yeah, we have large families. Even I find that today there are children who are managing their parents' um, finances for them as well. Older, we have aging parents. Many of us have aging parents, and we have to uh, deal with that as well. When we're financially literate, we have the skills that allow us to know how to make our monies work best for us, right? So if we don't have that, then our money is not working for us, right? We
Right.
make poor investments, right? And uh, we end up putting ourselves in debt. But once we're literate, we become less vulnerable to financial fraud. That's the thing. We learn how to check our balances frequently. And we also learn to recognize that scammers can be right at the cash register in greengrocers, in supermarkets, and in stores. So check, check, and check. Sometimes you're purchasing a lot of food items or a lot of clothes items or a lot of whatever items, because sometimes some folks have lots of families, and there are times when you have monies to shop for a large amount of goods, right? But pay attention because I've seen it done. I remember one time I was in the greengrocers, and for me, I usually I round things off to make it easier for me. So if it's 3.99, 4.99, 5.99, 10.99, right? It's $10, it's $11, it's $4. I'm just rounding off and count because I grew up in the islands. No, we are our calculators, okay? So I'm checking, and so when I get the bill, the rounded number, I expect it to be somewhere close within that ballpark. It extended. I said, dude, check this again. The machine somehow was rigged. I said, you know what? You don't need to stop. I was going to call the police. He was like, he had to pull out a calculator, check it up on that, and then I seriously was going to put everything back and call the police. I really needed the items though. So when he said, okay, let me check it on the machine, and I'm like, yes, you go ahead and check it. Because I took a pen and I started to, I'm like, it does not add up. So there are those, we have to look out for that. Another thing that came to my attention is that folks inside of there's some Walmart where the goods we buy, like chicken, poultry, or meats, it's 5 pounds or 5.6 pounds or 5.12 pounds. But when the item is weighed, so now you're paying for 5 pounds or almost 6 pounds of fish or or meat product, and when weighed, it's like 4 pounds. So you're paying for 2 extra pounds that you're not getting. See, these are little things that we have to be aware of. We need to have checks and balances in everything. As I said, the scammers are not just calling folks on the phone anymore. They're right there at the checkout counter. And sometimes in the mom and pop stores, not mom and pop per se, but in certain stores, so we have to be alert and aware. Um, Double check the receipts, double check the balances in the bank, because there are folks that are somehow sometimes when you use another thing that came to my attention. I don't know if you heard of this, Ms. Thais, is that there were folks that when you tap to pay, that sometimes the readers were reading the card that was in their pocketbooks, reading cards that's in their wallets. And there have been times when they said, when it comes up, do you want money back? That folks would usually say no, but sometimes if the teller checks that for you, then guess what? You don't know, you just receive your bill and they can pocket the money. And so every little $20, every little $10 adds up. So the thing is, financial literacy, it teaches us how to create budgets, plan for retirement, manage debt, and track personal spending. We need to track our personal spending locally when we go to the supermarkets, bodegas, wherever, especially if you're using your tap to pay, you're using your cards, be very cognizant, be very careful, check, right? It helps us in budgeting for our children. Some of you are newly married, right? And you're going to have children, right? You have to the children's education and medical bills, all those things add up. So it helps us to use our debts responsibly, right? Don't just use all the credit cards and credit everything. There are, and we'll probably do this some other time, but talking about how to use credit cards wisely, you know, um, that's another issue. But anyway, yeah. So, and it also teaches us when we're financial literate, we are prepared for drought seasons. We are prepared for drought seasons, right? And just like when Joseph, he had to, if Egypt wasn't prepared for the drought season, they would have all starved. But learning financial literacy teaches how to be prepared. Some people say rainy season, but listen, it's not the rainy season we're preparing for. It's the drought. It's the when something happens to the vehicle, when something happens to the refrigerator or the washing machine or something that you weren't prepared for, the things that are outside of, yeah, we can call that. So, and the thing is, a lot of us are financially illiterate, right? Not because of ignorance, but because of financial trauma that have one has experienced in the past. Some of us have even been taught because of our parents' traumas. So the emotional and financial psychological distress that is caused by negative financial experiences by our parents or by ourselves can be passed on, can be taught to our children. Some of us have learned it from our parents, and therefore today we make poor financial decisions. So, that being said, I am going to turn it over to my co host, Mrs. Thais Love, who is also a psychologist. And so she's going to discuss financial traumas now with us. So, Thais, it's your turn. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Good evening. Good evening. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing up this topic and bringing it to Wake the Nation. This topic of financial trauma, it's very widespread. It's just that we don't talk about it. We're not even aware of it and stuff. And We just live our lives suffering through it and not even aware of the fact that we're experiencing that and stuff. And so and like you said, a large part of why we're not even aware of it is because some of the the way we deal with finances, money decisions, we inherit those techniques, those habits from our parents, from our family members, as we are growing up. And we often do as we saw our parents do, at least at the beginning. And so one of the things that we as parents need to understand that is that we do pass on our financial habits, our financial views, the way we even interact with money. We pass that on to our children, and then they start out in life uh, at a financial disadvantage, or they have many financial blind spots because of that. And so, what financial literacy, that's a great way to uh, cover and put sight to those financial blind spots, so that when some a financial hardship or a financial mishap happens, we're not caught off guard, and then not able to recover in a timely response, or we'll have less financial anxiety, financial trauma. And so I want to talk a little bit about today, what is financial trauma. Um, I have a couple of statistics here, just to show you the prevalence of it. Um, Studies show that 30% of all adults, no, excuse me, I read that wrong. Um, 23% of all adults um, experience financial trauma, and 30% of millennials uh, experience financial trauma to the point where they experience PTSD from it. Okay. Um, Now, what is financial trauma exactly? Well, financial trauma is a emotional as well as psychological uh, distress that one experiences, that is caused by a negative uh, financial experience. It could be any kind of negative financial experience, but usually you get to the point where you're at financial trauma when you have a very impactful negative financial experience. And so
It's like
ex
crippling, right?
Yes, very crippling. So it could be, for example, a divorce, um, where you know, it was you had a two parent income, and then once the divorce happened, um then the income is 50% of the income is gone all of a sudden, or over time. And so that impacts the lives of everybody in the family, because now they have to adjust. Yeah. They have to adjust financially
May I say
to.
something too?
Sure, sure.
Also, in some instances, once the divorce occurs, majority of the income also leaves.
Yes.
Sometimes, or if a woman is in an abusive situation and she has to leave, a lot of times even her income was controlled, so she leaves the majority of her, or she just leaves everything. So that too.
Yeah, yeah. Uh a lot of times, especially women with children, after going through divorce, those women go into financial poverty.
So,
They
wow.
get thrown into financial poverty because of a divorce. Um, at Dunamis Sound Mind Services, we have specific services tailored to women with children that may be going through the loss of a relationship, a divorce, um, where we speak to those things specifically, because studies show that when there is a divorce, and the woman winds up, with the custody of the children, even though she may get um, spousal support and or child support, that woman still has to adjust tremendously due to the loss of income still. Um, from that marriage. And so divorce impacts not only on the mother drastically, but it impacts the children tremendously. So to the point where the children may experience financial trauma. And then when they become adults, they, will follow suit in the way that they saw mama handle the impact of divorce. They too will carry that on. So yes, divorce is a life changing and financially impacting, sometimes negative experience. The loss of a financial provider in the home due to illness or even death um, is another example of a life situation that can um, cause or lead to financial trauma. Um, uh, Sudden unemployment. You've been working at a job 20 years, and all of a sudden you get a pink slip, you know, uh, that is tremendously impacting. Um, and so that person may come away with uh, uh, experiencing financial trauma. Uh, and and if there's a shift of some sort in family composition. So, for example, yeah, a child is taking care of an elderly parent, and that child, had his budget set up for their family and for their lifestyle, but then once they had to take on that elderly parent came with additional expenses that were not readily planned for. And so that's a that can impact that caretaker, that child caretaker, in a very negative way, and cause also financial trauma. So
And may I say
sure.
something?
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you have this within your scope that you're going to discuss, but also when parents die and they're left without anything uh, because they were sometimes the spouse may not have allowed maybe one parent, like maybe it's a woman, and may not have, they don't have their own then. Because and we find
Yes.
this that there are male spouses that control the finances and leave the female without, right? And so
Yes.
that female is reliant upon them, and then whenever anything, God forbid, sometimes when that parent passes, there is nothing. And so, this being the trauma of being left without sometimes
Yes.
can make us make poor decisions. Oh, we have to invest here, or we have to do this here, or get involved in without really having making
Plan.
conscious and planned decisions, and having making informed decision, getting the right information before jumping into making decisions. So yeah, that
Exactly.
trauma does affect us all,
Yes. Yes.
one way or another.
And especially in generations, uh you know uh further back, where in this country, the woman, uh she had to be married in order to have access to any kind of financial anything. My grandmother talked about how, you know, only married women could get a credit card, and she could get the credit card only through her husband.
Wow.
Um, only married women had a different privileges that single women did not back in the day. And so there, many women got married just so that they would be financially taken care of. And in those generations, the woman relied on her husband to make all financial decisions, to handle anything that had anything to do with money. So when those husbands died or moved on or left, it left those wives with nothing, distraught, not even able to figure out what her next steps were, because all of the financial decisions were made by the husband at that time, and so um when he's no longer there, it's like, okay, what do we do? What do we do? I don't know. And they, fall into abject poverty. If their children, didn't, come to the rescue or anything like that. And so, yeah, and many traditions, cultural traditions that still practice uh, that the man is the financial
Breadwinner.
provider. He
Yeah.
makes all of the financial decisions, and everyone else just has to follow. Cultures that still practice that. Um, Many times when the man is no longer there, um, he died, or he's ill, and not able to function in that capacity, those wives, are left in a situation where they are, they was totally dependent on him. And so then they have to either quickly learn how to make those financial decisions, or they have to seek help maybe from their male sons, from their sons, um, or their children, to rescue them. But yeah, and so it very much goes on today. Yes,
Can I ask another question?
sure.
Did you find in your research that there within the black population or the diaspora or the BIPOC communities that it does financial trauma impacts our group more than it does our white counterparts or
Yes. Yes, and yes and no.
okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I say no because traditionally, especially with African American women, we were very much we didn't have that luxury to
Okay.
only rely on the man,
Gotcha.
and the men in our family. We didn't have that luxury. Many of our men were struggling,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
like we did. And so
Mhm.
we had to, roll up our sleeves and work alongside
Okay.
uh our men. And in this country, um, the black woman wasn't even considered a woman in the same sense. So she didn't have the luxury of simply staying home and taking care of the children. Um, Many times she had to not take care of her children to go take care of her white counterparts' children. So she had to work as well as take care of her family as well. So she didn't have that same luxury. And so the black woman also, African American, I can speak to that um specifically. They were out there in the fields. They worked alongside the men, you know uh when uh when World War II happened. um it was a lot of the men that were of working age and everything. They were in the war, and so they were away at war, and this country's economy was impacted at because of the Industrial Revolution. And so they had, you know a, a lot of factories and um industries that required that skilled labor, and they needed laborers. uh they hired women, and they hired black women, because the white women were, oh no, I have to stay home and take care of the children. But the sisters got out there. My grandmother talks about wearing overalls. Overalls is,
Yeah.
the denim
The denim, yeah.
overalls.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, Present
Yeah.
day we call it a jumper.
Yeah.
But she wore the overalls, because uh, that was a uniform to work in the factories,
Okay.
and men wore those particularly, but anybody that worked in the factory had to put those on. And my grandmother talked about how she would wear overalls, to go to work, to work in the factory. And because of that, my grandmother, she didn't care for jeans,
Mhm.
denim jeans.
Mhm.
She called all denim jeans overalls. And she didn't care for them. She didn't think that that was something that you should wear outside of working at a factory
Yeah.
because of her
I got
experience.
you. So,
Um,
so then you would say that for the Black community, then financial trauma was like a shared, um, it
yes,
was shared between the sexes. Okay,
Yes,
gotcha,
yes, it was
gotcha.
definitely shared between the sexes. So that's why I say
Mm,
I
yeah.
say yes, that they did go through it,
Mhm,
um, more so than our white counterparts.
mhm.
Uh, but they went through it together.
Right,
It was a joint thing.
right.
And then in this country, when all of the lynchings were happening and our uh black sons and husbands and brothers and nephews were being killed just because they were black. Um, the the a black woman protected and shielded her black man by keeping him home and in the house where he could be protected, and she went out and worked.
Okay. Okay.
And so that's how that went down. But yes, our as a whole, our people in the Americas, African Americans and Africans in the diaspora, yes, we do experience financial trauma more so than others.
Others. Mhm.
Okay. But we experience it in terms of between the genders, we
Yeah.
experience it the
It's
same.
a yeah,
It's
okay.
a shared thing.
Shared
Now,
experience. Okay.
recently, because more women are in the workforce, more women are women across the board are, in business and moving up the corporate ladder and shattering the ceiling and all of that. Black women are getting paid more now, even more so than the black man. And so uh there's a slight shift happening where the brothers are experiencing the financial trauma in an even bigger way.
So,
Uh,
so wait. So you're saying now they're being financially traumatized because the women, and that in some way demasculates them or
Makes them feel that, or they perceive it
emasculates
as
them.
such.
Yeah.
Okay. And so uh it's that's the way they are expressing their financial trauma, their financial anxiety as well. They respond to the fact that their wives or their girlfriends or their sisters or even their daughters are working at the same corporate job, but they're they're able to move up the ladder um a little bit faster, or they are offered choice jobs, and choice salaries more so than the black man now, because of you know when they want to meet minority quotas, the black woman fills two minority quotas. She fills the quota of being a
Female
woman, and then she fills the quota of being a minority.
minority.
So she is now getting uh afforded salaries and job positions and things even more so over the black man. And so many of the brothers are expressing their financial uh uh trauma, their financial discord with that practice now, by um feeling, fear of being emasculated, because now the sisters, they paid the cost to be the boss and all of this kind of thing. And so the brothers have a different fear now, the fear of not being able to keep up with their mate financially, the fear of not being chosen um, by their mate because of financial differences in salary and things of that nature. So yeah,
So,
it's a little different.
okay. So financial trauma can be because of loss, like loss of income from the job, or loss of a spouse or a loved one, or also you're saying it can be because of the gender biases in the workplace as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And are there other types of financial traumas outside
Uh,
that?
Also, financial trauma can be caused by financial manipulation. Okay. Uh, Now it's financial manipulation um, is being practiced by both genders.
And it's
Um,
everywhere, isn't it?
it's everywhere
It's in
where,
churches, it's in school, it's everywhere.
yeah, yeah, where people, flat out scam you. They misrepresent themselves, so that they can get money from you and, get access to your financial documentation or what have you, and just take from you. Um, it's unfortunate, but it happens.
Wait a
You know,
minute. Do you know that I saw this there's a headline, and when I checked it, it was about some kind of a dating online uh
yes,
where the young men would have older women send them monies, but they wouldn't actually meet up with them, but
yes,
and they would be taking monies from them like for and that um can be very traumatizing,
yes.
especially when they're older, they're lonely, and then their monies are running out.
Right, right. Or you sent money to this man that you thought you was in a relationship with, and then you find out when you finally do come face to face, if you come face to face with him, you find out that he scammed you and about 15 other women, and that's traumatizing, especially this is a love interest. You gave whatever monies you gave, and everything, because you trusted them, you loved them, and then you find out he was lying and just robbing you straight. And I mean, that goes both ways. There are women that will wine and dine you, have you spend a whole lot of money on them, and then they don't want to be bothered with you. Or if you don't have you lose your job, you lose them as well.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I had a friend of mine who he's single, and he recognized uh a little habit. He would take a lady out, and he will let her pick the restaurant, and she want to pick the most expensive restaurant, and then she want to go there frequently and everything. And he realized that he had some financial goals that he was working on to achieving. And when he looked at the end of the month, he kept finding that he was short, and he couldn't figure out, well, what's going on. I'm on my goals, right? I'm on my goals. He sat down, and he spoke to me about it, and I told him, I said, well, the Bible says a man's heart is where his treasure is. So sit down, look at your expenses, and see where your money is going,
Go,
because
yeah.
wherever your money's going, that's where your heart is. Okay. He sat down and he did that, and he found out is going to this lady, them dates, them expensive dates. He didn't plan for that, And I said, well, if you're going to go out on these expensive dates, if you're going to date like that, you need to have a dating budget.
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, you know what he did? He was like, you know what? I'm going to go on the break. I'm going to go on the break. I'm not going to see anybody. That's it.
Mm,
And the next time I go out on a date, we're gonna have to go Dutch. She gonna have to pay half, I'll pay half. Because you know,
yeah.
he was dating someone for like 6 months
Oh wow.
that really was impacting his wallet,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
So, is that one of the solution to overcoming the financial trauma is sitting down and acknowledging or looking over, see how the trend of how you're spending your money or why you're spending or the patterns, and
Yes.
make
Make
informed
adjustments.
decision or adjustments. Yeah. So
Yeah.
talk about some of the solutions.
Sure. I want to also talk about a little bit about financial anxiety.
Oh yes.
The
Come on.
financial anxiety is very, very similar to financial trauma, uh, except the financial anxiety is worry. It's worry, constant worrying about your finances, your income. Oh, I don't know if I have enough money, to pay the rent this month. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I have enough money to go food shopping. I gotta I gotta buy these things, but I don't know if I have enough money. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I don't have enough money. And
Yeah.
you're so
Having anxiety over paying which bills to pay even, or
yes.
when the time is drawing near and you know a certain bill is due and just being anxious about that. Yes.
Yes, yes. Just thinking the fear of not having enough.
Yeah.
Okay, it could be not having enough money, not having enough food, not having enough space, just not having enough. Um, you can cause you to worry. You have anxiety about that, and so that anxiety affects how you interact with money. So because you have it in your mind that you don't have enough, your income is not enough. So you make decisions. Okay, I already know I only make a little bit of money, so we are not going on family vacation. We are not going to be part of that wedding party because we already know we got to spend money and I don't have enough money, so I'm not even going to entertain it. I'm just going to withdraw from that. I already know my income is small, so I can't even afford to date, so I'm not even going to date.
And how about those who they know they don't have enough money for the wedding or for the family vacation or family excursions, or but because of the trauma or what they've learned, it's like they'll put everything on a credit card just so to save face.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
that's
That is a symptom of financial anxiety, also financial trauma. You want to say face, you don't want to be embarrassed, you don't want to have to tell the family I really don't have it, you know um you
can
don't
I
want to
tell you
tell them that,
can
but so go
Can
ahead.
I tell you, I said this because I was in the supermarket 2 months ago, and there was a lady, and she was talking to her sister. So both of them were shopping, and so she was like, she's asking her sister to buy her certain items, and it wasn't a lot. She didn't have a lot in the cart, and the sister says, "But I don't have it, because we just we both just came from that wedding, and such a person is having another wedding, and I don't even know why they're getting married. They don't like each other." And then the other one goes, "Well, did you buy your dress?" And she said, "Yes, I put it on a credit card." And then I mean, it was
Exactly.
the just the conversation, and I'm like, wait a minute, they're just so choked. Both of them were choked,
Yes,
but
both
at
of
the
them.
same time, because they were saying that, we can't be the only ones that's showing up, so they're there going more in debt, right? And now can't even buy some food. She was
Right.
like, she can't even buy food to feed her children. And but it's not something to laugh at.
No, but
It's
I
just
mean, I,
it was just thinking back how ironic it was, but it's really sad to see
that
that
that's
yeah.
real. And
Yeah, it is real. It
people
is
make,
reality.
yeah, that's one of the symptoms
Yeah.
of I'm going to go over the symptoms so that
Okay.
you can just check yourself and see, am I going through financial trauma
Yes, please share
or
those
financial
symptoms.
anxiety?
I'm going to write them down.
Yes. Okay. So some of the symptoms or ways that you need to, red flags is uh okay, and is when you have um well, the financial anxiety, when you have anxiety about making uh money decisions, whenever, like somebody invites you to the wedding or to something, and you're like, oh my gosh, um I I don't know how to tell them no. Somebody got to represent the family. When you have uh, that when you start to feel that anxiety, that uncomfortability, when ever the family gatherings or special events, and you get invited, you're happy for the person that is happening, but you're not happy for yourself because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to spend some money and I don't want to. So that's one, that uncomfortable feeling when you get invited to stuff like that. Number two, um overuse or underused of money and credit cards. So, financial anxiety and financial trauma can happen the other way, where you don't spend enough money, you know, um, uh,
That's true.
at the time. And that's my daughter calling for her son. But yes, when you don't spend enough money, or you refuse to spend any money. So it's like, okay, I got the credit card, but I'm only going to use it in dire emergency. I will go without eating for a week because I don't want to use the credit card because I don't want any debt. You know, um, that's not healthy either. Okay. So that's financial trauma, financial anxiety the other way. Um where as opposed to uh pulling that credit card out and using it to, buy toothpaste because you don't even have enough cash on hand to buy toothpaste. Um Toothpaste is getting expensive, but I'm just saying, people make the decision to max out their credit cards, because of overuse. um that is a symptom of financial anxiety, financial trauma. The financial anxiety is when you have to worry or feel uncomfortable about the decision to use the money or the
Right.
credit card or something. The trauma is the action.
Right.
I am not going to use that credit card. I don't care. We will starve. We will not get, you know, that's the, or just pull out that credit card. In fact, I'll use my credit card this week. Auntie, use yours next week, and then we're just gonna go all the way around. So we'll all be in debt together. That's a symptom. That's a problem when you have to call somebody to use their credit card because yours is already maxed out for regular
Listen,
routine
you
things.
say that, but again, this one just recently happened.
This is real.
Yeah, no, I was in the supermarket.
Yes.
And sure enough, and it was an auntie. I kid you not.
See?
I'm like,
See?
wait a minute, were you there? I'm
No,
laughing. I mean,
because
no,
it
because
happens in all of our families, okay? I could talk about it. I could talk about it because I know I get the calls. Well, you know what, Auntie? I'm a little short, and the holiday is coming up.
that
Christmas is gonna be here soon, and
that
I got 15 kids. I got 15 kids, and I want to get them all a Christmas present, but I'm a little short.
yeah.
So can you give me money so that I can buy my 15 kids, each a Christmas present? You know, okay. What about my, like I don't have your 15 kids in my budget, but you gonna call me anyway because that's what you think you need to do. And you expect me to say, okay, great, and then get upset when I say no. Mm,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a real thing. So that's a symptom. Okay,
Okay.
when you have to call your money done ran out, your credit ran out, and you
Yes.
calling someone else for theirs. Okay, um, so that's another symptom. Um, Another symptom is when you have very limited beliefs about money in general.
Mm.
As I stated earlier, oh well, I'm on a limited income, so I really can't afford to do anything, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm not even going to live. I'm just going to, do the bare minimum because I'm on a limited income. I'm on a fixed income. That's having limited beliefs about money, period, in general. You believe that you just don't have enough, you know, you're not even gonna try because you just like, well, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it. Some people have a habit of saying I don't have it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Those folks who will pinch their money, not use their money, and then allow you to spend yours
Mhm.
just so they
That
can save theirs.
that
So yeah,
person
that's
that refuses to, that would hoard their money, they are experiencing
true.
financial trauma.
Yeah.
They've made a decision that okay, that that one time that I was totally broke, um, I'm not going back there. So I'm
Right.
just not going to spend money ever. Okay. I'm just
Mhm.
going to sit there and let it, accrue, save, save, save. And that's it. I'm not even going to live. I'm just going to watch my money, grow. That is financial trauma. That is.
It is.
It is financial trauma. So yes, that's a limited belief about money.
Yeah, yeah.
Some people believe that money is only to be earned and made, it's not to be spent.
Yeah, because of the lack of not having or seeing their
Yes,
parent not have or being in an embarrassing situation because of the lack of funds. So
yes,
yes,
yes.
it's real. Yeah.
It's
Mm.
real. It's real. And it's the response, the reaction to having gone through a very uncomfortable, distressful, negative financial experience. So you know, they come once they come out of that, they've made decisions that okay, lesson learned, I'm not going to spend money ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is financial
Trauma.
a
Yeah.
trauma. That is financial trauma. I've experienced that myself.
Mm.
Um, and I have family members that have experienced that and are experiencing it now. Um, and so, and another symptom is procrastination
Mm.
with regards to paying bills. The thing about bills, you know that they coming. You
Yeah.
already know they
What
coming.
is that one? And you find I find that a lot of young people have told me that, and I'm like, okay, so when the bill is like $25, they don't pay the $25, and then it's $50. I got
Yeah,
this, and then the next thing you know, that bill is like
$300.
$900, a
Right,
$1,000, and you're
right.
like, wait a minute,
And
how did it get to be $1,000 when I was just
exactly.
$25 that you could have paid, and I don't know.
Knocked it out. Yeah. That procrastination, uh, being slow to take care of the bill. You know the bill is there. But uh because of the financial trauma, they decided I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to be in denial about that bill. And so they go into denial and they take their money and they spend it somewhere else and spend it somewhere else. Meanwhile, that bill is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it gets to be overwhelming. And then
Yes.
they have to deal with it.
Now you
And
can't pay it, or you got to get a
right,
loan or something.
right,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
So
Oh,
that is
quick thing. So
sure.
someone just told me that Facebook said the link cannot be found. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, continue with the symptoms and the solutions.
Wow.
Yeah, let's continue with
We
the
must be
symptoms.
speaking to somebody's pocket directly, okay?
Let's
Um,
continue with the symptoms and
yeah. So,
solutions.
procrastination,
Yeah,
with regards to bill paying.
that's
You
a big
know,
one.
you know that rent is due at the beginning of the month.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know you got that car ticket. You got it. Take care of it right then and there. No, uh,
I
upon
got caught
receipt.
up in some of those though before.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm not gonna deal with it right now because I can't believe I'm gonna go into denial about the fact that I got that speeding ticket, or I got that ticket for parking on the wrong side of the street. I'm gonna go into denial about that for a little while, and I'll get around to it. And then that ticket grows, grows, grows. Next thing you know, you come out to your car and there's a boot on your car, or your car is gone
Or
because they
your
done totaled
license
it.
gets suspended.
Yeah, and all of that could have been avoided had you dealt with it. But because of your financial trauma, you chose to go into denial and then you avoided the paying of the bill. You avoided it as long as you could. And now you can't avoid it any longer. And at the same time, you don't have it to take care of it. So it turns into a even bigger negative experience, you know. And so, you know, thank you. Mima's on the line. Thank you. Um, my grandson and is here. He wants some mac and cheese. Can you ask Papa, please? Thank you. Um, but yes, so I'm just multitasking here.
We understand.
you know, but we live in real time, okay? But yeah, um, that decision not to handle it right then and there, okay, I'll get to it later. I'm going to forget about it, and stuff like that. Those are symptoms of financial trauma. Another symptom of financial trauma, uh, uh, and trauma in general is hoarding.
Ooh. Mm.
Hoarding. When you know, you might know of someone that you know, uh, just buys a lot of stuff that they
Yes.
don't even need, and
Yes.
they store it,
Yes.
in their apartment, in their home, and
To the
they're
point
oh
where there is no space to walk. There's been
Exactly.
those. Yes,
Exactly. That is a symptom
it is.
of financial trauma.
Yeah, and you know something, a wise thing to would be to do because I had a friend who's now deceased, and his sister did that. And she said it was because, well, she didn't think she was hoarding. She's just like, I'm just saving for when I don't have, for when this happens or that happens. Because at one point, she was out of work because she's a nurse, but she got ill, and so she was out of work for a little bit. And so, it triggered that in her.
Aha.
So, but the
Yes.
thing about with hoarding is that there's nothing wrong with purchasing the bulk, but recycle it, or it's like if you're bringing in new canned goods, then bring the old canned goods to the front, right?
Right.
Use what is already there. It's not that you can't purchase the new ones, but
Right.
utilize what was so you don't, because they have expiration dates. Just
Yes.
saying.
Yes.
Just
But
saying.
the thinking is I don't want to be without. I
Right.
don't want to experience lack.
Yes.
So I'm going to overcompensate by buying a whole bunch so that I'll never run out. And you buy so much that you don't even use what you're buying, and so then you're overwhelmed with all the stuff that you have that you don't want to get rid of because you feel you might need it. That is also financial trauma.
Yes.
That is also financial trauma. That is a symptom, a huge symptom
Yeah.
that the person that is hoarding, they may have experienced a situation in life where they lacked or they had to do without, and after they recovered from that situation, they decided, okay, I'm never going to be in that situation again. So I am going to overstock so that I won't, be caught without again. And they keep overstocking. That's the thing. They keep on overstocking. They can see how much that they're well stocked. They can see that. But if they use some of it, they're so afraid that it's going to dwindle back down to nothing that they
Yes.
overbuy again, overbuy
Yes.
again.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So and that's what happens. All right. So yeah. So those are some of the symptoms of uh financial trauma. Um, and I can just go over them quickly again. Hoarding symptom, procrastination and anxiety about paying bills, um, overusage or underusage um, of a credit card or of um, monies. Um, uh, Also, isolation from you isolate yourself from family gatherings or different events so that for fear of having to spend money. Okay. So you just make the decision that I'm not going to do it at all. And uh last but not least, but physical, mental distress um when you have to do anything with money, interacting with money at all. So those are symptoms. If you're experiencing that somewhere along the line, you are dealing with financial trauma. Now, oh, okay, all right. Give me kiss, give me kiss. Come, 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 come. Come, 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 come. My grandson is. All right. See ya. All right. Daughter, come real quick. All right. I don't want to interrupt. I know it's already, it's on the video. It's on the video.
It's already on the live.
Good to see you. I love all right. All right. Got you. The his containers in the refrigerator. Okay, okay. Excellent. Thank you. All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Thank you
Yeah.
all for your patience and everything.
It's live. It's real
Yeah,
life.
it's
It's
live.
live.
It's live.
Yeah.
That's what makes
We're
it
we're we're
live, okay?
seeing real life.
We're all the way live,
Yes, 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 yes.
not even pre-recorded, okay?
No.
But yeah, those are the symptoms of
Symptoms.
financial trauma. So if
Yeah.
you find that you are experiencing some of these things, if you know someone that is going through these things, the chances are they are experiencing and exhibiting financial trauma.
Hmm.
Now, there's a way to remedy it. There is a cure. There is an answer
Well,
for
amen.
it. That's why we're here. You can have victory over your financial trauma and your financial anxieties. And there is there is hope. Is all hope is not gone and lost. Okay. One of the things that you can do, as Reverend Flo Chang-Ageda is explained to us earlier, is get some financial literacy. Financial literacy will arm you and better prepare you, so that you can make informed decisions about money and finances. It will so that you won't be making every financial decision about money from an emotional place, but an informed place. Okay. So that's number one, get some financial literacy. But even before that, uh you have to really check to see, okay, and acknowledge, all right, I'm experiencing financial trauma. All right. Okay. I see it. I see it now. Because many people, they're not even aware that this is what's happening. And being unaware causes you to continue to make financial decisions from, all kind of uh strange places in your heart, in your mind. Okay. And so we need to stop that. And so first thing to do is acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. Okay. Like I said, financial trauma is more prevalent than we like to think. Um, Studies show 23% of all adults experience financial trauma, and 30% of millennials are experiencing, I'm talking right now in real time, financial trauma. And I mean, those 30%, they know about it. Okay.
Yeah.
They are aware of it. That
Those are the
23%
ones
of
who they're
adults,
aware of. Yes.
they're aware of it. The other 70% are not aware of it, or may not be aware of it. And so we are here to bring this to you so that you can become aware of it, acknowledge it, and then do something about it. And so acknowledge it, so that you can do something about it. Uh, get yourself a financial advisor. Okay.
You can find them at the banks, right? You
Yes,
can find them on
they're at
podcasts.
They're at the banks, they're at
Reputable
podcasts.
financial advisor, please.
Yes, reputable. Because that's the thing. But I would suggest, even before getting a financial advisor, that you do your own research. Because you know best in terms of what are your spending habits, what are how you really interact with money, your uh beliefs about money and finances. You know best of what that looks like for yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
And so take a good look at those beliefs, take a good look at those habits, those techniques, that we may have inherited from our parents. Okay. um Take a good look at those, and then do your research in terms of, okay, is this working for me? If it's not working for me, okay, what can I do to change it, to adjust it? Okay, because just because uh uh grandmama always put aside half her paycheck for a rainy day, and so therefore I do that. That doesn't mean that it's correct. That doesn't mean that it works for me.
Or that your money is working for you even.
Right,
Because
right,
it's not putting it under the mattress anymore.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we pick up our financial habits, viewpoints from our parents
Ancestors.
and
Yeah.
our
Mhm.
previous generations,
True.
and so, and times change, so we have to adapt with the changes.
Yeah.
And so what may have worked for grandmom may not work for us here. Yeah. My great grandma used to have money up under the mattress. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And she was able to save that money. She had the rainy day money, and whenever there was a rainy day, everybody knew, call grandmama, you know. But now we're, present day, you know, we have rainy days, or we perceive rainy days all the time. So then what happens?
Yeah.
All of the money that was under great grandma's mattress is gone. And we're not, great grandma not here to keep putting the money back. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
what are we going to do? So I would say acknowledge that you have an issue. I would say also do your research.
Hmm.
Then find you a reputable financial advisor um to help you um uh in terms of the therapy, the actual trauma, the physical, mental, emotional trauma about it, because some people, just talking about money is a very stressful point.
It is.
you know
Yeah.
um
You do need some therapy at times in order
yes.
to overcome that.
Right. Overcome that fear of
Yes.
even dealing with money,
Mhm.
because that's what trauma is. And so I would say, talk to a therapist. I'm here for you, and I would be more than happy to help you uh, in your journey through this financial trauma resolution. Okay. So find a therapist. Um, or someone reputable that you can talk to, an advisor, to deal specifically with your money and spending habits. Okay. um and get the literacy, do your research, get the information in terms of different things that you can do, so that you can use your money in a way that it works for you, not against you. Okay. And then And so if you have to take some go to some workshops, you know, banks and investment companies have workshops all the time where, you know, they can show you how to, you know, what things you might want to invest in, or what kinds of uh money uh bank account packages that you can utilize, that, you know, you can save your money at a certain rate, and, you know, and it collects, it gains interest and things of that nature.
Yes.
CD accounts, IRAs, and things of that nature. um
And
I'm not
they
a
could go to the bank and speak to a banker about that. So,
Yes.
one of the banking agents, and they
Yes,
will inform.
they
Yeah.
are the experts, and they will be there and answer all of your questions, you
Yeah.
know, and help you decide what uh
That's best for you.
financial entity is best for you. And so also gather the family together, your household,
Yes.
and talk about money. Talk about, you know, okay, uh we need to talk. We we need to, as a family, adjust our spending habit, or adjust our interaction with money. Set a budget, plan. Okay, set a budget, and you know, uh have your plan so that you can stick to your budget and meet your financial goals.
As you said, set a budget. My mom, my grandmother used to say, set your hat where you can reach it, right? And you can
Right.
literally see that, right? You put your hat
Yes.
there. If you have to get someone else to get your hat for you, it shouldn't be that high. So,
Right.
I say that to say my mom followed that. And I tell you, my mom never used a credit card, never was in debt.
Right.
I don't know how many people have had Con Ed. Actually, she would pay her bills ahead of time, seriously, and she would even get credit. I don't think they still do that, but I've seen, because of how she was disciplined when it came to that, because of how her mom taught her. And so my mom, she would save. She gets her paycheck, pay her tithes. She took out her tithes and offering, paid her bills, ate something out of it, and saved some money. That She was so disciplined in that. So disciplined. And her bills were never delinquent. Like, that was just, but because of what her mom taught her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it can be done.
Oh yeah.
It My mom saved. Out of when she came to this country, she was making $50 per week.
Wow.
50 US dollars a week.
Wow.
But she was that disciplined. And as her pay increased, her tithes increased, her savings increased, but she followed through
Right.
and,
Right.
and stayed that way till, yeah.
Yeah. And see what a blessing. And
That's a
you stand to reap the benefits
yes. I
from
should
that.
stand to learn from it, but I've made my mistakes.
I mean, we all
I
do.
better now.
Yes. Amen.
But not gonna lie, I fell into some pits. So I was like, wait, I didn't learn from my mama.
I mean, I did too. I did too. My grandparents, they taught my sister and I. My grandfather used to make it a point of, whenever he was paying the bills, you know, he would, each paycheck, he would call me and my sister to sit down and watch him write out the money orders and minus
Right?
out of the budget. Yeah, yeah. And he taught
Budgeting is
us.
important. It
Yeah,
really is.
budgeting.
It really
he
is.
he taught us, and you know, that was a good thing because uh after he died, and I wound up having to be the caregiver of my grandmother.
Mm.
And I was able to do that seamlessly because she and him had taught my sister and I
Right.
so that we would be
So you
prepared.
transitioned into it. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And, and by the time I became her caregiver, her and my grandfather had already, put stuff to the side and, had everything kind of laid out. They even knew amongst their grandchildren who was going to be the one that they would trust and
Right.
entrust,
Yeah.
and that wound up being me, you know. Me and my sister, but my sister said, "No, Tice, you do it. You already got the family. That's a lot of responsibility. You go ahead, you do it, you do it."
Mhm.
And so that's what I did. And I wanted to be able to uh pass that knowledge on to my children,
Mhm.
which I did, but I also went through a divorce,
Right.
which really impacted me financially. I mean, it threw me into a tailspin. And for years, I spent just trying to recover and, get back on my feet, and with my five sons, they experienced that with me. And so now that they're grown and, some of them have their own families and everything now, they took not only the lessons that I taught them about, um, you know, preparing for financial difficulty. They got that lesson to try to prevent it, but they also got the lesson of, what happens,
Yeah.
when it happens, and so I experienced financial trauma, I was able to work my way through it. Actually the Lord worked me through and brought me through it, brought my children through it as well. And so I have one son. I'm not gonna call his name out, but he knows who he is.
Don't call it.
That that you know he saves, and he's always saving for the rainy day. He's always saving for the rainy day, because when the rainy day comes, it's not gonna catch him without. And that's a good thing. But I also try to encourage him, look, you gotta have balance.
Yes.
You know,
That's important.
you gotta have balance, and because you gotta live life. And the scripture declares that God is the one that gives you the ability to attain wealth.
Yes.
Okay.
Amen.
All right. And I I know that that's true. I'm seeing that that's true. That's true. That's true. Because even after you've gone through financial hardship, the Lord carries you through.
He does.
He carries you through it. He restores you, and he even gives you the victory over.
Yes.
And that's
And you speak from experience.
yes,
We speak from experience.
yes, we speak from experience. And so and I'm just very grateful to be in a position where I can share, and even share that testimony. Um but just like the Lord did it for you and I, he can do it for so many others.
Yeah.
And praying for my son, the saver. um that that the Lord will let him know, I got you, you
Yes,
good, you good, you
yeah,
don't have to worry about that, going through all of those things ever again, you
yes, true,
know uh
true,
and
true.
so but the fear is still there,
Yeah.
you know
And
um
that's what, and he can get the help to deal with the fear, and we know that God will take him through.
yeah.
So, for those of you who I realized that for the most part, people were blocked from seeing this video, but I don't know why the setting was changed, but I just changed it back. Um, I
Amen.
tell you, I don't know what's going on, but we're dealing with financial trauma and its solutions. And so you can go back over the video and you'll see Thais told us the symptoms or red flag, in terms of dealing with financial traumas and anxieties, because folks do have that. 23% of adults and 30% of millennials are now dealing with that. And we've all gone through, or our forefathers or grandparents or parents, and it's something that is passed on to the children, sometimes advertently or inadvertently, because sometimes we learn because we see something and it's not necessarily dealt with in a certain way, and then we don't know how to deal with it. So she talked about some of the symptoms being anxieties, um, you know,
Interacting with
about
money.
monetary decision, interacting of paying bills or dealing with money, the overuse or underuse of credit cards, calling someone else, to use their cards or
That's
their
a problem.
have them contribute to your bills.
That's a
Very
symptom.
limited beliefs about money, procrastination, and for those of us who have procrastinated in paying bills, it extends beyond bills. So it's going to affect a vast area of our lives. Um,
Yes.
Hoarding, because we don't want to do without. Isolation from family events, meaning, hey, I don't have enough money to come to your wedding or to come to the party or to contribute to the party or whatever it is. So I'm just gonna stay by myself. And that in a sense is also damaging and can be destructive eventually.
Yes.
And
It adds.
physical, yeah, the physical and mental distress when having to make financial transactions, right? So solutions were to acknowledge the trauma. And today I find that a lot of times we don't want to be accountable. We don't want to acknowledge what it is that we're doing or experiencing or going through. Sometimes we feel that if we acknowledge it, we're failures, but we're not failures. If
No.
we fail at something, that's simply what it is. We failed at that. Can we fail more than once at a thing? Yes, we can, but it doesn't mean we'll stay there.
And failure is success turned upside down.
Right, right. Because listen, many of today's success stories were born out of the failures because they
Yes.
kept persevering. That's what happens. Do research, in terms of uh, uh, you can do the research in terms of what you need in order to get your financial literacy, in order to be taught or to learn about how you need to become financially literate. To make wise and informed decision about your financing, budgeting, having the family involved in that, and getting reputable financial advisors and making financial decisions or and not emotional decisions, not
Right.
out of fear, not out of, you know, our emotions because of how
Yes.
we feel or what we think or how someone thinks of us. And today a lot of young people are influenced by that,
Yes.
what others think. And that's only getting one in debt or in trouble. Um, Before we close, I just want to read something that I found in one of my dad's Bible. And it says,
Wow.
It says, many a man who asks for a loan adds to the burdens of those who uh, help him, right? So when he borrows, he kisses the lender's hands and speak with respect at his creditor's wealth. But when the payment is due, he disappoints and says, he is helpless to meet the claim. If the lender is able to recover barely half, he considers that to be an achievement. If not, he's cheated out of his wealth and acquires an enemy at no extra charge. With curses and insults, the borrowers pay him back, with abuse instead of honor. Many refuse to lend, but not out of meanness, but from fear of being cheated. I read that because when I read that in my father's Bible, I said, wait a minute, financial trauma didn't begin here. It began
Right.
a long time ago. This is actually in the Bible. It's not in our regular Bible that way, but this is in the extended version. So we know that
Mm-hmm.
some Bibles have some extended versions. And so um, I just want to bring up someone also. Remember Jacob, right? He suffered financial trauma.
Yes.
He was financially illiterate when he went over to his uncle Laban. Laban robbed him, manipulated him, deceived him, right? He deceived him into giving 14 years of labor, free labor, and all the time he made his uncle wealthy, and his uncle reneged and gave him the wrong spouse. But something I love that in the Bible it says that Jacob, oh my goodness, he thought it a pleasure just to work to receive the wife he loved, who was Rachel. So I think also our attitude, we can go through
Yes.
devastating events, but we have to sometimes check our attitudes, right? Sometimes we become bitter, sometimes we become angry, but that's not going to help us into becoming financially literate. It's not. It
Or
will keep
overcoming.
it,
Right.
yeah, in overcoming, right? Thank you. And so, um, what he did was after he got his prize, that he finally got the wife he wanted, he was still being manipulated. He was still being used and abused in terms of financially
Yeah.
abused
That's
because his
right.
uncle was still taking his wealth from him. But when he sought God now, God instructed him on how to make wise investments, and he made wise investments into having a healthy lifestyle. So, upon obeying God, he became very wealthy. I say that to say that it doesn't matter if you are financially illiterate currently, you don't have to stay there.
Yes.
Consult God in everything you do. One of the advice was to get reputable advisors and do your research. And I'd say before doing anything, one of my studies today was about the king who fell. And instead of seeking God, he sought someone else. He ended up dying. So it's seek God first, and he will guide into the right, leading you to the right banking institution, the right advisors, so that you can make your informed decision. And even if you don't, and you went out and you saw it and you got the information on your own, then take all that information, bring it to him. Because at the end
Yes.
of the day, he's omniscient and knows everything and will never ever lead you wrong. And so, whatever decisions you make from there will be wise and informed decisions that will help you to become financially literate and even to be in a wealthier place. So I do pray that this uh, program, and I know financial literacy and traumas and anxieties plague, it's a number of people that are polled, right? The statistics are a certain number of people, but you think about the ones who weren't polled. Think about all the folks like us who were never asked to be part of
Right.
that, right? And we know that we've gone through that. So I say this, then you can share. I'm going to upload this to my YouTube channel. And I don't, as I said, I don't know why. this happened the way it happened, but all things happen for good. At least I became aware.
Still,
And
it's still working together, right?
yes, because I tell you, someone texted me and showed me. Hold on, let me see if I can enlarge it without showing the rest of the text. Oh, and I can't. I wish I could show you the what was sent to me without.
At least you're
Yeah.
aware of it,
So
and
yes, so I became
it's
aware.
gonna go forth.
I
God's
became
word
aware of
always
it.
hits its mark.
Yes,
Always.
I became aware of what was happening because I saw no one, but I know that we all need this information. And this is the month when we're doing taxes. Some people always procrastinate in doing taxes and wait until we know the tax
Got
season
to get that
quite much past,
extension.
and it has to
Yes.
get the extension. And there are those that are always ahead of time. So, in everything here will help. There are solutions that Ms. Thais gave, that will help us, not just with our finances, but in living our daily lives. So I do pray that this really will help us to all be in a better place. We can learn, all of us can learn from this. So when it's uploaded, and it will be on Thais's page as well, and she's Dunamis Sound Mind. She's a psychologist. Her telephone number is 718. What's your number again?
576
576
8110.
8110, right?
Correct.
And so you can reach out to her if you need help. And she's gone through, she has the experience. She was homeless, and today she
Yes.
owns her own home. To God be
Yes.
the glory. So
To
God has
God
taken
be
her
the
through.
glory.
He brought her through. She did not lose her mind. She went through a lot. She went through a divorce. Today she's married. Her children, many of them are homeowners. And let me tell you, God has worked it out. So she's learned. Like,
Yes.
we've been through. We're doing this because we've been through situation. We know where we're at, and we know that God took us through. He'll take you through, and He'll put you in a better place. So, my YouTube channel is Flo Chang-Ageda, FLO Chang-Ageda, and you can go there and share for your once I've uploaded it to my YouTube channel. And for Thais, she'll upload, you can go to her page as well, Dunamis Sound Mind or Thais Love. You can
Yes.
find her on both. She's on all the platforms. So reach out to her. And, I've benefited from many of the techniques, because we go through anxieties and we go through traumas. When I lost my aunt, I've lost other family members, loved ones. Um, Very good friends, and she was there to help me through, because it's not easy.
God
But
be the glory.
to God be the glory. So here we are. We're just sharing because we know that each one can help one. If we're the things that we go through, we're not unique to traumas. We're not unique to anxieties. It might be a little bit different for each and every one of us, but we're not unique collectively, right? And
Right.
individually to going through these experiences. But we know that there is a God who will help us through, and we know that when we are informed, we can make better and wiser decisions. So, with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. And Thais, I'll let you have your last words.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. I pray that something that was said resonated with you, and that you can begin to uh, make the necessary adjustments. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. We love, love, love to read your comments, to respond to your comments. Like Reverend Flo Chang-Ageda stated, we've we've experienced some of these very same things that we are sharing with you about, to bring up the awareness, um, so that you can, go and get the help that you need, or the resources, so that you can allow God to resolve those issues in your life and experience the victory. So don't forget to share it with someone that you know that might be experiencing this. Comment, um, and speak to your loved ones, parents. Like we stated earlier, our children inherit and imitate our financial interactions and decisions. Okay. And so, you know, it's up to us to teach them. Okay. We can still learn and relearn and still teach so that perhaps our grandchildren won't have to go through some of the things our children had to go through because of what we went through. Okay. And so it's all works together for the good anyway. Okay. So thank you so much for allowing us to share, and until next time,
Yeah.
uh we'll see you then. And God has an answer for every situation in our life, every situation. So don't forget to turn to Him. It's because of Him that we're here.
He gives us the power to get
He
wealthy.
gives us the power to come here, and
Yes,
He
yes.
gives us the topics even.
Yeah, he
Okay,
does.
He really does. He really does.
He really
So,
does. He really does.
um,
No joke
yeah,
about it. That is
yeah,
true.
it's
That
real.
is true.
It's
Yes.
real.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you so much. And thank you, my lovely co-host, once again, uh, for for your all that you do to make sure that we are all informed and uplifted so that we can experience the victory. Take
Thank
care. Good night, everyone.
Take care. Good night. Thank
Bye
you.
bye
Thanks.
now.
Thanks, Thais. As
Thank you.
usual. To God be
Thank
the
you.
glory.
It's
All right.
always
Good night.
fun.
Yes, it is. Good night, everyone.
Good night.